Good afternoon, everybody. I would like to thank you all for attending here for the open space forum for residents. But before we do that, if everybody could stand for a pledge of allegiance, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible. Thank you. So I'd just like to introduce everybody that is on the dais. We have Dan Beck, who's Township Committee person, Matt Zaworski, who is our engineer, Nora Coyne, who is our planner. I am John Tabia, I'm the administrator here in Wall Township. Again, I would like to thank everybody for attending this. This has been a long time in coming for Wall Township, that we have listened, and the one thing I want to get through is that we have listened to the residents. We have listened to you, whether it's a planning board meeting, a board of adjustment meeting, township committee meetings, on the need to preserve open space. And this township committee has been extremely proactive in looking at and directing our staff to look at areas to preserve for the township, not only today, but for the future. We know as a result of affordable housing and housing requirements that this township, because of the amount of open land that we have and water and sewer, that we are under a lot of pressure for those developments. This is to curtail that. So when you look at the acquisition of open space, it is not just the cost today. You have to look at the long-term cost as if those parcels were developed, the cost for your schools, the infrastructure at the schools, personnel at the schools, your police department, public works, and other municipal services, along with infrastructure improvements. And when you add up all those costs over the long term, purchasing open space is a least cost option. And it is a very proactive option that not only are you preserving the open space, the environmental concerns, but not only for today, but for future generations. And I want to, again, thank you. That is a quick overview. Nora's going to give us some additional information as we get through this. But also I want to let you know that the township is actively working with New Jersey DEP, Green Acres, Monmouth Conservation, and along with Monmouth County to secure as many funds and grants as we have to assist in purchasing this open space. We have had a lot of meetings with all those agencies in order to facilitate this. Before I turn it over to Nora, Mayor Magnan will be here. She's on her way. But before I do that, Mr. Beck, would you like to comment on behalf of the Township Committee?
Yeah, sure. Thank you all for coming. It's great to see such interest in our town and open space. I moved here 30 years ago.
Can you come in the microphone, please?
One of the reasons I moved here was because of all the open space that was available. I came from Jersey City. The Township Committee, as our administrator stated, is interested in purchases
At this time, I would like to turn it over to Nora Coyne, who is our Township Planner.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us, and welcome to Wall Township's 2026 Green Acres Grant Public Engagement Session. Today, we will be going over the status of existing land use and open space in Wall Township. We'll then give a brief overview of the Green Acres Acquisition Grant Program. Then we'll present 4 sites that the Township is considering for submission to the program. And finally, we'll take questions and comments. For those of you unable to be here today and are watching at home, I'll also provide my email address so that you can submit questions and comments for consideration after the session is over. And those comments and questions can be submitted through February 6th. So let's get started. So this slide represents the percentage of different land uses in Wall Township. And as you can see, our largest land uses are public property at 33% and residential property at 29%. Wall Township currently owns approximately 1,354 acres of property in town, which equates to about 24% of that big purple slice of the pie at the bottom of the screen. Of that 1,354 acres, about 1,157 acres is preserved open space or recreation and listed on the township's recreation and open space inventory. That equals approximately 85% of all township-owned property and roughly 8% of all property in Wall Township. So it's clear that Wall Township is committed to preserving as much open space as possible, but we still haven't conserved enough. So that's why we're here today. The township is looking to acquire additional land through the NJDEP Green Acres Local and Nonprofit Assistance Program. Because the township already has established open space tax that was passed by referendum in 2025, we're eligible for a 50% matching grant through the program's site-specific incentive acquisition category. Matching funds can come through a variety of sources, including municipal funds, county open space funds, private or corporate donations, and grants from private foundations. The actual amount we will be awarded is unknown at this time, and while we don't know what the award cap will be as it fluctuates from year to year, the range of funding caps from the last 5 years have been $500,000 to $700,000. So we're anticipating something close to that range in 2026. Once acquired, the property can be used for recreation or conservation purposes. So now we'll go over the sites. The first site is Hunter's Run, and these are in no particular order. The only order that they are is they're from the north part of the town to south part of town. So Hunter's Run is located on the south side of Belmar Boulevard. It's between Walton Way and Martin Way. It currently operates as a horse farm, and it's approximately 45.4 acres. It's located within the rural residential R5 zone, RR5 zone, I'm sorry, which is a 5-acre minimum single-family residential zone. Environmental features on this property include wetlands and a pond, and you can see that on the property. In the green is the wetlands, and the blue area is the pond. This property is also contiguous to approximately 76 acres of preserved township open space. And here is just a photo of the property that was taken by our township engineer. The next site is Thompson Farm. Thompson Farm is approximately 48.8 acres, fronting on Allenwood Road and West Hurley Pond Road. It's located within the rural residential 6 zone. That's a 6-acre minimum single-family residential zone. It also includes environmental features, including wetlands, a stream, and a small pond. The site is currently used for crop farming, and the farm is over 200 years old. It's said to be the oldest working farm in Monmouth County that has been owned and worked continuously by the same family. And there's a photo of that site as well. Next, we have the Polera Farm that fronts 18th Avenue and Allenwood Road. It's 2 lots comprised of approximately 41.5 acres, and it's also located in the RR6 zone. It's surrounded by single-family homes and farm properties. The property is currently used as a horse farm, and several environmental features also exist on this property, including wetlands, a stream, and a series of ponds. The property is grouped adjacent to other smaller farms with similar environmental features, and you can see that here on that slide. And then finally, we have the Boozer property. This property is approximately 8.4 acres. It's located within the rural residential 6 zone also, and the farm is located on the east side of Bailey's Corner Road and is bound by the bike path to the east and Wall Township preserved open space to the north. The township acquired the property to the north several years ago and has the rights of first refusal to purchase the property. It's also very close to Silo Farm. It's just across Bailey Corner Road from Silo Farm. So that's a summary, that's a photo, I'm sorry, of the farm. And that's a summary of the sites and the grant program and what we're looking at now. We'd like to open up to questions and comments from the public. We'd like to hear what you like to say about these sites in terms of recreation and open space. And also, we'd also like to hear about any additional comments that you have with regards to preserving open space in Wall Township.
If you would please come up and state your name, please.
name's Ted Gasek. I live off Belmar Boulevard near Route 34. Just curious, the Hunter Run Farm, is it going to stay in the ownership of the current owners, or, I mean, are they looking to sell? Is that why you're trying to acquire it?
Our goal is for acquisition.
So are they like saying that they don't want to have the farm, they
No,
want
I'll
to
take
sell
that
it, or is that?
So on all 4 parcels, there is different options that the township is looking at on each of those 4 parcels. It is at this point too early to tell on which one that the homeowner, excuse me, the landowners will select, but we are coming forth and we're being very creative in obtaining those, whether it's development rights, outright purchases, or life rights. But like I said, it's too early in negotiations to determine that yet, but all 4 of them are in different phases.
And like, what makes you choose that particular site? Like, how did you notice it? How did you come about wanting to maybe purchase that?
So the individuals, these 4 sites, and I might want to add that these 4 sites are what I'm going to call Phase 1 of the township's open space plan, that these were the first 4 sites selected. There are others that we are looking at, but these are the first ones that are a little bit further along in the stage, and are also, a number of them are the most pressure from development pressure. So that's one reason they were selected. They were also selected because of their locations. They were selected in some cases that the property owners approached us. Others, from third parties, we heard that the property might go for sale or not sale, so we wanted to get ahead of that curve. And again, it's just being proactive. Like I said, in the last 7 months that I've been here, this township committee has directed myself and staff to actively look at all the farms and open space in the township. We sent out letters to all the property owners. We got responses from that. Those of you who don't know, I used to farm most of the township for 32 years, so again, I know a lot of the property owners personally, so it gave us the ability to stop in on some of these properties and start a dialogue, and that was the whole key, is to open up that communication so that we could get to this phase.
I just have one other question. The McDowell property on Schoolhouse Road, Monmouth County Park System has been trying to purchase that, and they did put a bid in, and they were outbid by a contractor. You probably know who that particular owner is. Have you been working with the Monmouth County Park System in trying, or Monmouth County in general, trying to purchase that property, or have the county purchase that property and to become maybe continuous part of Shark River Park?
So all of the properties, including this one and that one, we have been in dialogue with New Jersey DEP, Green Acres, Monmouth Conservation, Monmouth County Park System, and Monmouth County Board Commissioners. And they are actively going to be active participants in all of this moving forward.
Okay, thank you.
So we're actually working as one big team to try to acquire these pieces for open space.
All right, thank you.
Mayor Magnan has came here, so before we open it up, we can just hold off on the public and you want to address the
Thank
audience?
you. I apologize for my tardiness. Life of a school teacher. So I'd like to personally thank everyone for attending today. I know coming in the middle of the day can be challenging at times, but we do hope that your participation in today's meeting will hopefully generate a conversation and a collaboration between our community and ultimately help us in our goal, which is preservation. Okay, that is a huge priority right now for our township, for us as committee members, the administration. We want to preserve as much land as we can, and doing that collaboratively, thoughtfully, and responsibly is really the ways that we're going to be able to do that. So that's all. Thank you, Mr. Devine.
We'll continue with the public portion. Anybody else?
My name is Kyle Kolova. I just recently purchased a property here on Bailey's Corner. It is the old Boozer property. So I was curious to know what that almost 9 acres across the street, what would be the plan for that triangle lot? If you guys preserve it, is that going to just be open space farmland if it is purchased by us, the town?
So currently, right now, if we can come to an agreement with the Boozer Estate, That piece of property, the 8 acres, will be added to the piece to the north that the township already owns, and for the short term, it would be continually leased as farm ground.
Okay, so essentially Sean from Alaire would be taking care of that still, or?
I can't say, it all depends on when it is leased out by the township, and whoever the highest bidder is would be the selected person who would be able to farm that.
Okay, but that is the plan, to keep it farm, not put a bubble up, a sport arena?
As of right now, that is going to remain as farmland.
Okay.
Can I say that that will change in the future? It very well could, but right now, the anticipation is for it to remain as farmland.
And that is zoned RR?
Excuse me?
That's zoned RR?
That's RR?
R6.
RR6, 6 acres. So if the township did not purchase that particular piece of property, under the current zoning, one home could be built on that.
Thank you.
Any other members of the public?
Matthias Löwenberg. I'm trying to figure out what kind of timing, when is a decision like that made, and obviously there are different kind of sizes, I guess they have different kind of values to it, right? So how is it with a 50-50 grant, and so to say, that 500 to 700,000 will be potentially from grants, and the rest, I guess, have to come from the company, from the Wall Township budget, and there are various kind of sizes of properties. How does that look compared to the 4 properties, actually?
So the short answer is we want to do this as quick as possible, but obviously that's not realistic. But what happens is there's a number of different ways the township can purchase the property or acquire the development rights. One is an outright purchase of those development rights for an agreed upon price. Second is there's obviously for that can be offset by Green Acres, DEP funding, state funding, other sources of funding, and also the negotiations with the individual landowners. We are in one of those processes with every one of these parcels. First step is appraisals, that we are waiting for appraisals to come back on some of the properties.
Okay, so the timing when the selection is done, I mean, we're talking about 4 properties, one needs to be selected. When would that actually happen in the next near future?
In an ideal case, one of the properties could probably happen within the next couple months. Some of them, it could be up to a year, depending on the arrangements with the property owners. But all 4 of these properties are what we're going to call priority phase 1 for the township, and that they're actively being pursued right now in various stages and continuing dialogue with those individuals.
All right, thank you.
Any other member of the public? Ms. Cross?
Hi, Betsy Cross, I live in Wall. You mentioned that you do have some of the appraisals back. Could you go over the numbers that you have for the appraisals that you have back for these 4 properties?
Because we are in current negotiations with the individual property owners, I cannot disclose those numbers at this time. As they come up before the township committee, those numbers will be disclosed.
Okay. They're going to be disclosed in public?
Yes, they will.
Okay. Could you go back? You had a picture there. Could you go back? I think it's the 3rd one, the polar form?
Polara.
Not that one. Keep going. That one. What's that purple circle there
On the bottom?
on the top left?
Oh, that is, the purple is steep slopes.
What is it?
The purple is steep slopes.
I can't hear you. What is it?
Steep slopes.
And what is that?
It's the grade of the property is very high, but that's not on the property that we're considering. It's across the street.
Yeah, I know. I was just wondering what that was. So out of, how many letters did you send out, did you say, to farms?
We sent a letter out to every farm assessed property in the township.
And how many is
I will
that?
get you the exact number. I don't have it off the top of my head.
100? Under 100?
Probably about that.
Okay, so did you only hear back from these 4, or these are the 4 that you?
These are the 4 that were set as high priority because of various conditions that were there. But we are actively also talking to a number of those other farm owners.
Okay, and then you must have some dollar in mind. I mean, I know we did do some open space for $1 million, and I have no idea what happened to that $1 million. Then we just had a vote in November for open space. That got approved. We have no idea where that money went. Given the new governor, I have no faith that we buy a farm and the governor's going to come in and say, oh, that's great that you have the farm, but we're going to make that housing now. So it sounds great. I'd love to keep the farms, but I have zero faith in the state of New Jersey right now. So I wouldn't want to throw my good money at something that potentially could turn into housing down the line. The third one, the Busser property, I mean, for something that's only 8 acres that the person could only build one house on, why would we, I don't even know why we would bother with that one. Let the person buy it and build a house. The other ones, you know, we got 76 acres, 45 acres, 48 acres. That to me makes a bit more sense. That Busser one, I don't really get that.
Not just 8 acres when you include the north. Part of that.
If I may, when you're done, Ms. Cross, I'll try to answer your questions.
Okay. Yeah, I know. Yeah, that's what I want to kind of understand. And then you said the words outright development, but I'm not really sure what you mean by outright development. Like, I don't want development. If we're keeping these as forms, why would we have development? And I also know we had $7 million in surplus the last time we looked at the budget. So where's that money going? I don't want to spend another money. I don't want to spend another penny. So you got seven. Do you know how much money we have in surplus, Mr. Tabaya?
We can get you that information.
Okay. Well, I mean, I want you to say it in public. That's the whole reason to have this public meeting, that people left work to get here. The other thing is, I know Dan Beck, he doesn't even look when you're talking to him. He's just got his head down. I don't even know why he's here. I mean, you should have somebody here that actually cares what the public is saying. And he won't speak into a microphone. Like, you got a microphone right in front of you, and you don't even look at me. You know, it's just so weird. I just don't even understand it. But maybe you shouldn't have him here at the next meeting. Either have Tim Farrell or Kevin Orender, because this is not working for me. Then you talked about phase 1. I mean, how many phases are we going to have here? This is phase 1. And you must have some dollar in mind that you're looking to spend. If you could go over, how much are you looking for? 2 million? You know, what? I just don't know, because I think the difference between the Busser property and the Hunter's Run property is going to be, you know, is it going to be 5 times as much because it's 5 times as much land? And and then where you had the public space, can you go back to that first chart? It said public, and then it said about the school, 1%, the very first slide. And I mean, it would have been nice to have the handouts here. I'm sure you're going to put these online after, but you know,
It's going to be online.
I know, but just have handouts when people get here. It makes it so much easier than people writing it down. And on your agenda, put the block and lot so people don't have to write it down. If I Google Hunter's Run, it's not going to, I don't think it's going to give me the block and lot. So please, in
4111
future,
Belmar Boulevard.
I know, but most people wouldn't know that. What is school property, public, private, 1%?
That's just school-owned property. That's either public schools or private schools.
Either public or private.
It's 1% of the total land area of Wall Township.
It's only 1%? When we take all the 7 schools, that's only making up 1%, including that and the private schools?
Yep.
And all the land that they own?
Yes.
Yeah? Huh. Yeah, so I don't know, I think it all sounds great, but seeing how New Jersey's going, I just not sure where we're headed. Thanks.
Thank you. Just to answer a couple of your questions, the Boozer property, which is on Bailey's Corner Road, that particular property, back probably around 2000 to 2004, somewhere right around there, Matt, right? The township purchased I'll call it the northern piece of that property from the Boozer family, with the stipulation in that original contract that if the other parcel came up, that the town would have first rights of refusal. So Wall Township has been trying to get that entire parcel back from the 2000s. The reason why that particular parcel is so important to the township, besides that it borders the bike path, it also ties this open space here at Town Hall to the Boozer property that we purchased originally, to this future purchase, and ties it into the silo farm. So it's a contiguous green belt going into the silo farm from the center of town. That was the issue on the Boozer property. On the purchase prices and the dollar amounts that we're talking about, as with any real estate negotiation. We are not at liberty to discuss that until we have settlements with those individual property owners, and as we have settlements with those individual property owners, there will be a resolution on a public meeting disclosing those prices and the conditions. We do not have those at this point. We are still in active negotiations, and as such, we cannot discuss that in public, because that would also possibly hurt our negotiations with those particular property owners. On phase one, what we say that these are priority phase one, it's because of the way they came in and the development pressure on some of these properties. So that's why they've been done. Does the township have a number of other properties that we're looking at? Absolutely. But obviously, because of the amount of funding that's available, both from township dollars, and by the way, the open space tax is still sitting there that we're going to use for part of this. It has not been spent on any other issue. Let me finish. I did not interrupt you when I was talking. So, like I said, that we have township dollars, state dollars, county dollars, and private dollars that are going to be used for these purchases, and that will be a combination of bonding, outright grants that we do not have to pay back, and then we're also going to pursue some federal dollars, but when you pursue federal dollars, it is a totally different process, much more lengthy. But like I said, I can tell you and assure you that the Township Committee, the direction that they've given and the 100% support they are is to preserve as much as we possibly can. Will all the deals work out? Absolutely not. But we are going to pursue every single one that we can to preserve the open space that's left in this township to prevent future development and take that off the table for development. Once something is purchased for open space, if it goes into Green Acres, in order to take that property out of Green Acres, where say you were going to do, something simple as an intersection improvement, where you needed a quarter of an acre to widen the intersection, that requires a diversion of Green Acres property that you have to actually go to the State Commission to get approval for, and depending on the way that was purchased, it could be as high as 4-to-1 that you have to offset, some are 6-to-1. And one of the other things that we're going to be looking to do with some of these properties is to have our own Green Acres Bank. So if we have that type of situation, that we already have properties within what they call a Green Acres Bank, that we can offset some of those things so we don't have to do a diversion, future planning, and it is also a cost savings measure. So like I said, anybody next on the public? Mr. McAllen? Mrs. Cross, you've already had your chance. You can come back up when everybody else is
There's nothing on here that
done.
says you can come up once. I'd like to know how much of the tax dollars you're looking to spend that you currently have out of the surplus of 7 million, and I think the 1 million that we already have. How much of the money you already have? I don't want to see a penny bonded for this. You keep bonding more and more money, and that needs to be answered. I mean, we need to know what you're looking to
Once again, Mrs. Cross,
spend.
I am not going to disclose what we're looking to purchase these for. That will be discussed with the Township Committee. The Township Committee will make that decision on whether or not they're going to purchase that or not, and then it will come out in the public. I cannot give you those dollars that we're talking about on these particular piece of property.
And I mean, contracts, I just found out, I put in an Oprah request. We don't even have a contract with our chief of police, Sean O'Halloran. So,
We're talking about open space today.
yeah, I know. I have a real problem with trusting what you're saying when we don't even have a contract for our chief of police. So.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Cross. Mr. McAllen?
Mayor Madigan, Councilman Beck. Many of you in the room don't know of me. 35 years ago, I was the chair of the Wall Township Environmental Advisory Committee. And at that time, we were the ones who actually started the open space plan in this town. We had asked for a 1% tax, which took, this is 2026, right? 35 years to get into place, but it was through the diligence of this particular committee that we were finally able to get it through. However, the good news is, over those 35 years, the Township of Wall did acquire over 1,300 acres of open space in this town. And some of it, Ms. Cross, was done through bonding. Most of those bonds have since been paid off. And as our township administrator has just mentioned, how we got this through the town, which, by the way, back in those days was not very receptive to doing an open space plan at all, because back in 1991, the town was mostly open space. But we convinced them by doing spreadsheets and showing them exactly what Mr. Tabia was talking about a minute ago. And that is the least expensive way to handle what open space we have left in this town is to purchase it or buy the rights for development, because that is what's going to actually help us in two major facets. One, keep the tax rate down, and number two, to keep Wall Township looking the way it does today. So I allowed your efforts. I think this is a very important step for the town to take. I only ask for one small favor. A lot of people here today came out in an afternoon. I know some of my neighbors, they work, they were not able to attend this today. I would ask you to schedule another one of these meetings and invite people to come here either on a weeknight or maybe even a Saturday morning. So on that note, once again, I thank you for your interest in the town and preserving what Wall Township is and what all of us happen to love living here. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McCallum. Today's meeting will be streamed, it's streaming now, and also recorded and available. But as always, we will take that into consideration. You know, a huge component of me taking on this role as mayor this year was that I want to really engage with our residents and have an open dialogue, open communication. So whether that is an email or a meeting or a coffee with the mayor, all of those events will be in the plans for the future. Collaboration is truly the way that we can work together and to betterment our community. So thank you for that. I appreciate those comments.
Any other members of the public? Ms. Cross? No, Ms. Cross, you already had turn. We're going to go to the top. You can come back
You don't have anything
up.
that says there's a 3 million, and it says questions and comments, so I have questions. Thank you, the last person that just said that. Yeah, there's a lot of people that can't be here today. I mean, if you were going to have one meeting, I'd have it at 6:30 at night, so I wanted to say that again. My issue is a lot of times things show up on an agenda at 4 o'clock and we're supposed to be at the meeting and we have no time to look at anything. Just like Wall Speedway has now appeared on an agenda for next Monday. So I see something about Wall Speedway on the agenda and I think, you know, we should know what's going on. So, you know, why is it on there? I see people all over. I know nothing about Wall Speedway. I've never even gone to a race. But people don't like getting things on an agenda at 4 o'clock in the afternoon and then they're shoved down our throats at 7 p.m. So please get something else on the agenda. People shouldn't have to go back. Mr. Tabia has already said he does not reply to emails. So if I send in an email on this, he's not going to reply. He's going to want a private meeting and I don't want a private meeting with him. So I just wanted to mention that again. And it shouldn't have taken 25 years, as Bob just said. You know, it's crazy. But, you know, you took our money, you have $7 million in surplus, you need to spend what you have and not look to bond anything else. And get a contract for the chief of police. I'd appreciate it. Thanks.
Anyone else for comments? Thank you.
Hi, my name is James Jones. We have been living in Wall Township since 1991. Love what you're doing. I really appreciate all the green acres that's been happening and what you're doing here. My one more question, because the planner mentioned if there's other things that you have a question about. It's about open space. It's about the Brisbane property. There's a new township committee now, and I don't know whether there's a push to put a planned use development out there, hundreds of affordable housing units and others. But is there anything that you can enlighten us about today as far as whether that's going to be part of this ongoing plan to acquire sensitive properties and keep areas from being, especially rural areas, from being subject to overdevelopment?
So that is one of the properties that the township is looking at as far as potentially for housing development, but there's also a bunch of other alternatives to offset that, and we are currently in that discussion right now with our affordable housing round 4. We will have some information coming out to the public. We're hoping sometime by mid-February we'll have all that information for you.
And will that be a township committee meeting or a planning board meeting? What type of meeting?
Probably both.
Both. Okay, thanks.
Afternoon, my name is Mike Ergus. I'm currently serving as the treasurer for the Wall Township Youth Football Program. Can you explain the difference between open space and green acres and maybe the process of swapping properties if the opportunity arises, and how, if there's any legislation coming up that would allow that or hinder that, and also what the rules are about building and not developing, but building structures on either open space or green acres?
Okay, so currently, right now, we'll use this facility as an example. If the facility was purchased and it's currently on the green, and Matt, correct me if I'm wrong, or Nora, but if it's currently green acres, on the list of green acres, what they call the Rossi, in order to build, say, on 1 acre, to give you an example, you may have to have 4 other acres as a diversion, what they call, to build on the 1 acre. That's under the current regulations. There are new regulations being proposed that there's going to be hearings on this year. It has not been scheduled yet, where DEP is going to allow, say on that same example, a enclosed recreation facility, and that's a key, enclosed recreation facility to be built on the 1 acre. And then if you have a contiguous 1 acre that's not on green acres in Rossi, you can, what they call, flip that for a 1-for-1. You don't have to go to the higher number for diversion. That has not come up for hearing yet, but that is supposedly going to be scheduled for this year. So it will make it easier for municipalities to construct recreational facilities on some of that property. But there still has to be it's basically a 1-for-1 instead of the diversion.
Okay, great. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Any other questions?
Hi, I'm Renee Jones, and been living here for 35 years, I believe. 2405 Lenape Trail, and I'm really excited about what you're all doing, and that you now have, you got the open space tax. That's great. It helps you leverage more funds, and I like the idea of at least the properties you're pursuing. But I have a couple of questions, and maybe it's for Nora. Is there a plan, did you also create an open space plan to come up with your priorities of acquisition?
So we do have an open space plan. It's somewhat dated. It's from 2008. It is something we're looking at updating. But as Mr. Tabia explained, a lot of these properties have environmental features on them. They're contiguous to existing open space and recreational areas, and that was really a lot of what we looked at in this round.
Because it's nice when you have a plan and you can look at your whole township, and you have protections of lands along the different watersheds, and you can build upon that and create these contiguous areas. And that's important for outdoor recreation and for wildlife conservation.
So that's actually why these particular 4 parcels have reached high on the priority list, and it's just the way they've come about. Just for the items that you said are included in every one of these particular properties.
And I'm excited about the Boozer property because from my perspective, even if a property can be 1 acre, 2 acres, 8, or 100 acres, it really depends on its location, its value, and how it contributes to the adjacent open spaces. That's really important. So, and is that the property with the for sale sign?
Yes.
I thought so. Okay, great. Because every time I drive on that road, I'm like, oh my gosh, I wish the town could buy it. And then, yeah, you're looking into it. So that's great news. And I also would second that you have a second meeting and it's in the evening. I think that would do a lot to get the community more involved. So I'm glad that you're looking into that. And also with Green Acres funds, you have to remember it's for outdoor recreation.
I'm sorry?
The Green Acres funds require an outdoor recreation component.
Yes.
So even if you just do fee simple acquisitions, conservation easement purchases, you still need some type of public access there. And then my other thought was, are you looking at the farmland program?
We are. The issue with the farmland preservation program is because of the value of the properties for potential development and what the farmland preservation, the difference between those two numbers is very wide.
Yeah.
So that's why we're trying to be very creative on some of the acquisitions, life rights, and some other things on some of the parcels, because if you strictly went after a farmland preservation dollar, like I said, that difference between those two numbers is very wide, and most of the property owners who are using this either to settle estates or other things, it's just quite frankly not enough to
So
make
these
the
are
difference.
farmers who want to sell outright?
Right.
Okay. Because that's just another, program to look at for preservation purposes. If you want to continue it to be a farm, the farmland program is better.
So on
When you
any
have
type
the
of purchase that the
recreation dollars from the green acres, you have to have that open space component.
So on all these particular parcels, because they are active farms now, when we close on those, there will be restrictions within that they will always be able to remain as one of the uses as active agriculture, along with passive recreation and some other uses.
Right. Okay. Very good. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
I'm here. I can't just leave. Hey, I'm Jim Caldwell. Never thought I'd say this, but I'm an old timer. I'm 60 years in town, approximately. I love what you guys are doing. Anytime we can get more open space, farmland, whatever. My opinion, to thwart the developers is good news. So I'm glad what you're doing. I know Betsy's going to hold your feet to the fire on all the details. I don't know all the details, but I'm just happy you're doing it, and I would just hope that, as other people have said, no bubbles. We don't need more playgrounds necessarily. Try to keep it wild if we can, or farmland, all that good stuff. It's a great town. I hate to see more open space disappear, so I just wanted to be on the record. I'm here, so good job, guys. Thanks.
Thank you. We appreciate your comments. Anyone else?
Just want to get that on the record. So you're not looking, Brick is building that huge development by Aldi. I've been to a couple of these other developments. They're absolutely huge. And I could see that one going on that one by you. So yeah, I'd like to be on the record tonight. I don't want to hear 3 years from now, things changed. We're now going to do that bubble because we can make X amount of money and help lower your taxes. So there's no plan to build any of these sports arenas anywhere on any of these properties or a future property. And my other thing is, I remember you were looking to do a splash park, and I was like, are you crazy? The liability on a splash park? And then it got shut down. So, if you were looking to do a splash park, I can't, I just have a feeling that there's something maybe in the works for something else sporty that we'd like to be on the record that you're not doing it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Are
you.
you not going to answer that?
As we have stated here numerous times today, these particular properties are highlighted because of the location they're at, environmental constraints, open space, and contiguous properties. At the present time, these are being purchased for open space.
Okay, but number 5 could not be for open space. Have you been talking about it in executive session about maybe building one of these facilities like every other town is doing? If you were looking to build a splash park and use money for that, using grant funds, are you looking to use any of our money for any type of sporting facility? Have you talked about it in executive session or anywhere else with Nora or anybody else?
The township is always looking at and partnering with our sports foundation and our sports teams to enhance our sports facilities. That is something that is also being discussed as anything else, no different than public works infrastructure. The grants that Nora and Matt actually just wrote and received for increasing the fields and walking paths up at Camp Evans. This township is constantly looking at ways to improve the sports, not only sports and recreation, passive recreation, and other avenues in this township, and we have stepped up those efforts, and we've been extremely successful in the last 6 months. We received almost $1 million in grants for various different types of improvements to the township, and we're going to continue to do that. And that is very important to the quality of life of this township.
Well, I mean, I've always said you should hire a grant writer, just like the Wall Board of Ed should do. Hire a grant writer and get in the grants, but it has to fit in with the scheme of things. Just like with Brisbane, now we're looking to build 750 homes in a new school. No, we don't want that. So you have to be transparent, you have to be accountable. And again, Dan Beck, just, looking out in la-la land, you need, yeah.
Okay,
right.
Ms. Cross, we can
Right.
stay focused with what we're here for. And as
Yep.
far as the grant writer, we have done an extremely great job with existing staff as far as going after the grants and being successful in the grants that we have done in the last 8 months.
I know, you've only been here for 8 months, just like Bob McCallum said. 25 years ago, this has been brought up. So, again, for 15 years, I've been saying, hire a grant writer here and Board of Ed.
And once again, we have looked at the cost of that. We are doing it with existing in-house staff, so we don't incur that cost of having somebody
grant writer could be 60
I did not interrupt
grand.
you. You don't interrupt me.
60 grand
I
for a
did not
grant
interrupt
writer.
you. Do not interrupt me.
You have the money to hire a grant writer. Don't be ridiculous.
Ms. Cross, are we good? Do we have any more questions?
When a grant writer is needed, we will have one. We have one on our professional contracts, but each grant that we go for is evaluated whether or not we need to expend additional funds to get the grant that we can do in-house and not expend those funds. When you go for federal dollars, and I am quite familiar with federal grants, the amount of paperwork and process that has to done both during construction and post-construction, you do need additional help for those type of grants. But we evaluate every single grant that we go for, whether or not we need assistance from outside professionals or it can be done in-house. We have, again, been very successful in all the grants that we have done recently. We have received dollars on every single one that we submitted.
So you should list it online, all the grants you have, so we can see them, and put a
Once again,
separate
Ms.
tab
Cross,
for
every time we
everything to
go
do
for a
with
grant,
this.
it is on the agenda because there's a
I'm not-
resolution.
nobody's gonna
passed.
search the
I'm not gonna-
agendas.
Mayor, I'm
Do
not
a
going to talk for
section
be
for
interrupted.
grants.
So
You're-
I'm going to jump in here just because I think let's get back to the purpose of the preservation of land and presenting all the findings to the community.
Right, so put up a separate tab for this whole
Okay.
presentation. I think it would really be appreciated, so we don't have to search it. Thanks.
Does anybody else have any questions or comments? No? Come on, yeah, come.
Could you bring up the Boozer property one more time? Bring up the triangle.
Oh, there we go.
Okay, this is the area. That is
Bike path.
where 18 would have gone.
That's a bike path, or Route 18 right away.
18 is I was asking if the trough that they have cut out right there, if that's where the bike path is,
Here, which is the old Route 18
right,
right away that's
where
currently a
that would,
bike path.
Route 18 would have continued through if that was completely ixnayed. Not going to happen. As of now, he said no. So that's what I wanted. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else, questions, comments?
And if I may, Mayor, just on bringing up the bike path, just to let you know, this Township Committee has also directed staff to look at additional areas to increase the bike paths through this township and connecting certain other sections of town. That is something else we are also actively looking for, and there's a grant that we're going for on that also. So like I said, we are actively looking at various different things in this township as far as passive recreation and active recreation on numerous areas of the township.
Thank you. Thank you so much for attending today. As always, feel free. Oh, one more? Sorry. Oh, is it Linda? Oh, come.
Yep.
You're the one that knows the most.
Hi, Linda Fisher, Atlantic Avenue. I'm excited to hear this presentation today, and what I'm understanding is the purpose of this is just to decide which of these properties goes to Green Acres, and that the others are not necessarily off the table. It's just which one will go to Green Acres. And I personally haven't really had a lot of time to look into two of the farms I'm not as familiar with, but I would think we would go for the properties that have the most environmental sensitivities and could do the most damage with development. So how many homes could be put there? I would think that would be the highest priority for preservation. So that's all I really wanted to say, but thank you for the presentation today. I'm excited that this committee is committed to preserving land in this town, new recreation opportunities. I'm excited to hear about possible bike path extensions. I think that's really important, and that's like one of the biggest things that makes this town so special. Like, we have the ability to get around on the bike path without getting killed on the roads. So thank you.
And if I may just answer your question, so the environmentally sensitive, all these parcels, especially the Hunter's Run Farm, is connected to township property that goes all the way to Route 34. There's some environmental over there. The Polar Farm with the ponds and the stream, there's environmental on that section. So that's why these 4 parcels were selected as priority 1 to go after.
Right, those were the 2 that stood out to me the most as far as environmental sensitivity goes. So, thank you.
Thank you. All right, to conclude our meeting today, I'd just like to say on behalf of the Township Committee, thank you so much for your participation and your comments, and we will look to schedule something in the evening or the weekend so that way other residents are available to express their concerns or questions or comments. As always, feel free to contact myself or the Township Committee members, our administrator. We're here for you, and we truly want to hear your thoughts, comments, and questions. All right. Have a wonderful evening.
Thank you all.